I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good morning, Brett Robinson. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful morning?
Thank you for having me. I'm extremely grateful to be chatting to you, and I am feeling abundantly, optimistically awesome as I usually do every morning.
That's amazing. What part of the world are you in right now, Brett?
I'm from Australia, but I'm actually in Sweden at the moment, up north, about halfway up the country. So I'm looking out the window from my standing desk here, and there's a little bit of a layer of snow and the sun is shining. It's absolutely beautiful.
Wow. Well, someone that wakes up the way you wake up every morning, I hoped, you were like 20 or 12 minutes away, because I was heading up your way immediately. You sound amazing. So I'm at my standing desk and you're at your standing desk. Please tell us which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time.
Well, I believe it must be podcasting. We've been connected through our podcasting communities, and I've been podcasting for a short period of time, and I believe that's what must have connected us.
Yeah, you're definitely correct. So tell us about your podcast, from the name and what you do there, please.
The podcast is called Your Life of Impact, and I connect with big impactors in their communities. So I'm talking with world-class athletes and coaches, inspiring entrepreneurs and community leaders, and I dive deep into their adversities, their vulnerabilities. It's a lot about optimal living, and what's really important to me is that we dig out a lot of actionable take-homes that the listeners can learn and implement straight into their lives to help them tap into their inner excellence and become the best version of themselves.
And who did you learn that from, becoming the best version of yourself?
Well, when we talk about podcasting, I actually learned it from John Lee Dumas, who I know that you've had on your podcast.
Yes.
And I went through his podcasting paradise community. But I've also been addicted to listening to podcasts for over 2.5 years now. So I've learned from many, many other podcasters. And when you talk about being the best version of myself, it's a learning curve from so many mentors in my life, as people that I've spent time with, people that I've interviewed on the podcast, family members, and then a really deep understanding of human behavior to help me understand what it actually means to be the best version of yourself.
When did this become active in your life?
The podcasting or the
impact, like being that guy who's living that high impact life, if you would.
Yeah, I've been a high performance sports coach and therapist and athlete for the past 15 years. I was an athlete first and then traveled the world with the different Australian Paralympic teams as a performance therapist. And then for the last 6.5 years, I've been a high performance sports coach with Paralympic sprints and jumps athletes. So it's been happening for about 15 years in that regard in the high performance sporting world.
Sounds like fun. Why will you continue to do what you're doing, Brett?
Well, in terms of the podcast, my main goal is to continually provide an abundance of value. And I also believe, though, that I am serving part of my deeper purpose through the podcast, and I believe that I have an abundance of value to give through not just my life journey, but the guests that I interact with. But back to your question before about when did I start with the impacting, I actually experienced massive adversity in my life 3 years ago, when two of the most influential and inspirational mentors in my life, who are my grandparents, they were actually murdered in their own home back in our small country town. And that essentially took me on an emotional journey like I never knew could actually exist, which allowed me to start searching for answers from an optimal living and a holistic perspective, and understanding human behavior at its deepest level. And the more I experienced it in my own journey, the more I studied it and learned it and began teaching people that. So I do a lot of work outside of high performance now and do a lot of online coaching and online programs with people around that. So in answer to your question of why I'll continue to repeat this skill, it's because I want to enhance. I am enhancing and optimizing my grandparents' legacy. I'm serving my deeper purpose and helping, like I said, through the podcast, helping people tap into their inner excellence and become the best version of themselves.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how that works. At this point, it's possible. And the thing I would say is, I am sorry for the loss of your grandparents.
Thank you.
How do I say sorry? How do I say sorry though, when it is the thing that has been the thing that has built who you are?
Absolutely. That's the biggest the biggest thing that you can think about is that it has to be a mindset shift. I accept I'm grateful for your apologies, but like you said, how do you say sorry? And I think it's more rewarding, I think, for us to think that that other people's thoughts are with us. We're not looking for sorry. We're not looking for pity. We're not looking to be stuck in the victim mentality. When I say we, I'm talking about any human on this planet that suffers from or experiences any form of adversity. And the biggest thing that has allowed me to change my mindset shift from being in the victim mentality to actually using this adversity to my advantage is actually doing the work, the deep emotional intelligence work with experts and listening to other professionals and doing a lot of study and actually understanding that it is my choice how this experience, how the worst thing in my life can actually affect me or support me. And so that's what's made me realize and understand, and this is how I teach thousands of people now how to use their adversity to their advantage. And it all comes down to understanding emotional intelligence, your thought dynamics, mental training, and mindset shifts.
It's really fascinating to me. Fascinating. So I definitely feel compassion because I can just imagine what you went through, right, at that point in time. But then I wonder if you would choose the same route. Not that your grandparents be murdered, of course not. But if you would choose that, you would go through that for what it gives you now to help so many others. And I think you would have chosen it, right? You would have chosen it, right?
I guess
you would be that person.
Yeah, to say now, you're exactly right in regards to not to choose that circumstance that happened, but to choose to be the person I am is because of this massive adversity that's happened in my life and the way that I've experienced. And it was because of a professional, a sports psychologist that I sat with, and as I spoke to her, and she said to me, you know what, Brett, you're going to become more of a whole person after going through this experience. And this was in the initial grieving period. And when she said that, I looked up at her and I smiled and I said, Kate, that is the best thing you could ever say to me, because all I want to do every day is be the best version of myself so I can help others be the best version of themselves. So if this tragedy, if that's how I have to look at this to get through it, then that's exactly what I'll do. And that was a pivotal turning point in, like you said, for me to be the person I am today.
Yeah. Best real energetic times 2. I just put an acronym to your name, my friend.
I like that. Thank you. No one's ever done that before.
You're welcome. Well, tell me, Brett, one other thing that you better write it down though if you need it, because anyhow, it's recorded, right? Tell me one other thing that you've done consistently over the last 3 years, please.
Well, that would be investing into my mental health, and I mean more about improving my mental training skills that I just spoke about. So my deeper understanding of mindset, neurochemistry, how our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all linked, how to train this and practice this, but also how to teach this to other people. So I'm not talking about intellectual improvement. I'm talking about emotional intelligence and every aspect of that.
Yeah. Definitely a double meaning because we're speaking about feelings. I'll still ask though, how does it make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel congruent, or in alignment is another word for that, because I guess my true emotions attached to that is pride
Mm,
because of the changes that I've been through, but also proud in how I can present myself every day, and proud of how I can coach and teach other people these skills. And also along with that comes a lot of with you mentioning how do I actually feel, is a lot of just happiness as a simple emotion, but one that I love to experience every day. I'm a very optimistic lover of life, and attached to that and attached to what I've consistently done over the last 3 years has allowed a lot of happiness.
mm. There's a woman I listen to, and she says all the time that your feelings are always in lag. So the thing you need to do, don't trust the feelings immediately. Like, make the decision and the feelings will catch up. Have you seen that been a norm as well?
Yes, absolutely. That's a very good way to put language to it, because too often as humans we experience an emotion and we'll react to it. But when we have a deeper understanding of our thought dynamics and our thoughts, feelings and behaviors being all related, then we can understand that we don't actually have to react to that emotion as it arises, and we can learn how to filter, and we become at the base level of emotional intelligence is emotional awareness, and becoming aware of those emotions. What are they? We label them. When we experience them, where do they take us? And then how do we respond to them in the world to make sure we're always moving towards our goals and visions and not reacting and moving away from our goals and visions?
Amazing audience. We are live with Brett Robinson again. He is the podcast host of Your Life of Impact. In his podcast artwork, he has the word impact with ACT, the ACT in orange. Like, you better understand that, right? So ACT, right? I'm guessing, right? That's there for a reason. Brett, let's switch gears for a moment now, and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Brett, what is your earliest childhood memory?
That Caribbean water is making me want to go for a swim while I'm looking out here at the snow. I think my earliest childhood memory would be playing with my brother, who is 2 years older than me, and also our pet dog. I can't say it's really clear, but I do have a memory of that from a young child.
So your brother is 2 years older than you. How old were you?
I think I must have been around 5 or 6 years old with this memory that I have at the moment. 5, 6, 7 years old.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
Like I said, it's not super clear, but I think why it's clear to one of my earliest memories is because I've always idolized my brother, even though as teenagers we fought like fighting was going out of fashion. In later years we became best friends, and we've been this way for many years. And I think it's probably just because of that deeper connection that he and I have had, and I've always looked up to him and learned so much from him.
Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my mind?
Absolutely.
I love the idea of the emotions that go with the picture. The first emotion, of course, being what you are looking forward to through your brother, right? That older guy, right? In your space, and what you're learning, your reactions, your actions, to your emotions. But I love the idea as well of the dog in the picture. The thing that, the animal, right? That's there, that is operating at an even higher emotional intelligence. One where language is not possible, but so many other things are necessary to act on. Using the word act on friendship, or just understanding how my owner responds, or what he likes, or just to see that, and now to see you being that individual that is going deeper, understanding that listening is such of an important part of it all, and being aware. I find it pretty amazing how it connects.
I really like that. Thank you for that viewpoint. And I actually listened to a podcast a couple of days ago with Caesar Milan, I think his name is, and he's the dog whisperer, and he speaks a lot about how much we can learn about emotions and humans and actions from working with dogs. So that's an interesting connection you've made there.
Wow. Yeah, I'll check that out. You'd send me the link to that podcast. I would love to hear that.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, if we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
I think it must have been, thinking back to when I was 12, a Matchbox 20 song called Real World. And I have a lot of memories of a few friends and I driving around in the country in far western country of Australia and listening to that song. But I must admit, I've barely listened to it since then.
Well, it definitely connects, right? I mean, the real world, it's where we live in. Emotions, no emotions, real world, so important, right? Real world. All right, Brett. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Brett?
Absolutely.
Brett, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
No, but I'm engaged.
Wow, congratulations. Congratulations. Do you have children?
No children.
Do you believe in God?
No, I don't believe in God, but I believe in a deeper, much bigger purpose.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Absolutely.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No, I would be lucky to watch TV for more than 3 hours a month.
Wow. And what about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
It would be pushing close to 8 hours a day these days.
Brett, if you had to share with us a statement that represents Brett Robinson, your own unique real statement, what would you say that is?
Wherever you go, there you are. So you might as well take the best version of yourself with you. And with that, just for everyone listening, I'm referring to your optimal health here in every aspect. So your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, vocational health.
Brett, this has been a great pleasure, my friend. Super great pleasure. But before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I believe that we are all legends and we all have all the answers we're looking for inside of us. We just need to believe and accept and then learn how to ask the right questions to ourselves instead of chasing everything in our external environments too often.
Brett Robinson, great pleasure. I say one more time, friend, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you, Angel, and thank you so much to everyone listening.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.